Welcome to Mr. Z and Fifth with your host,
Mr. Z.
and Fifth. How's it going today?
Yo, what's up, y'all out there? Those who's tuning into the show.
Today we're going to keep it real. We're going to keep it 100. And we're going to get personal. Today's topic, interracial dating. We're going to title this Interracial People Meet. Okay?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Name it right after the website. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Before we get into that, anything you want to talk about this week?
Yeah, I heard that Hazel B got fired from
Hazel E.
Yeah, Hazel E got fired from Love and Hip Hop, her Love and Hip Hop, man, and because of her bias towards homosexuality. Also, her also I didn't like the comment she made about dark skin and light skin. She made the comments about her mom warned her about dark skinned women that not hang out with them because they get jealous over her, and she also mentioned the brown paper bag. You know, she mentioned that, and she also mentioned about that she's a prize, and she's towards comparing herself to dark skinned women. And she said, and she also told a dark skinned woman that I don't blame me because of your shortcomings and your insecurities. I can't help for me being this. I'm looking. Don't get upset because of your insecurities. First of all shades of black is beautiful. All shades of black is beautiful. Come in all shades, and that's what makes us so beautiful. That's what makes black people so beautiful. You know, you can't be biased. And first of all, the brown paper bag.
Yeah, explain that for those who
don't know about the brown paper bag. The brown paper bag is where they compare. Years ago, during the 1800s, late 1800s, they used to pull up the brown paper bag. If you was darker than a brown paper bag, you would be able to receive no props or no.
Well, you weren't considered light skinned if you passed the
if
brown
you
paper
brown,
bag
if you
test.
was darker than the brown paper bag,
you classified as dark skinned.
Yeah. If you was darker than the brown paper bag, you won't get no certain privileges wasn't available to you. But if you was either the same shade as the brown paper bag
or lighter,
certain privileges would be offered to you. So that's what the brown paper bag really meant. It's ignorance. I call it ignorance because we're all black.
It's a form of prejudice within your own race.
Yes, and that's also stem back from Willie Lynch too. Divide and conquer.
They call those interracial, intraracial issues. Intraracial. I think I'm saying
interracial,
it right.
Yeah.
No, not interracial, but intraracial, meaning within the race.
Yeah, and those who don't know who Willie Lynch is, he was
he's a slave master.
A slave master in the 1600s. He told
he traveled from the Caribbean.
Yes.
Up to America, South Americas.
Yeah.
And all of the places that had chattel slavery.
Yeah.
His plan was to tell them exactly how to treat the slaves.
Right.
And this was 75 to 100 years after the first drop off of slaves.
Yes. Yeah.
So, because a lot of slaves were rebelling, as soon as they on the way over and when it touched land. A lot of people don't like to talk about that.
Right.
A lot of people make it look like black people didn't fight back. No, black people fought back as soon as the chains got put on them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And he did that because a lot of the slave masters were saying we can't control our slaves. So
the plantation owners,
Right, the plantation. So he said, okay, all right, let's come up with a plan. And his speech was mainly, the letter is mainly a speech. They call it a letter because it's in written form.
You're right.
But it was a speech that he made very demonic speech. I mean, it's almost like Satan himself is talking, probably because more than likely he is. And telling what to do with the slaves. Another slave master report confirms the stuff that Willie Lynch did. Willie Lynch orchestrated for the other nations that had slavery. In Jamaica, there was a letter called Derby's Dose. Also in Haiti as well. These were slave masters who documented what they did to their slaves, and it all matches up to the things that Willie Lynch did. Willie Lynch talked about doing. Another good example of seeing Willie Lynchism is the movie Birth of a Nation, the Nat Turner one.
Oh yeah,
That will show you some things about what happened in slavery that were from the actual Willie Lynch letter. Also, the Butler, a scene in the Butler when they showed his mother, who was light skinned. She was a product of. She was light skinned because she got raped by a slave master. One of the main things that Willie Lynch wanted during slavery was rape. He said rape them and mess up their color line and lighten them up, and then this is how you got a Hazel E of today.
He also
let's just keep it real. This is why you got a Hazel E walking around.
Yes,
because somewhere in her family somebody got raped. Let's just keep it real. This is rape, and all that people need to understand that during slavery, all sex between the slave master and the slaves were considered rape because the women couldn't refuse.
Right.
That was all rape. Even if you was a bed wench, you was rape.
Yes.
Bed wench came later on because a lot of them felt like, well, dang, you're going to take it anyway, so I might as well just give it to you. Which is sick. And then you got some sisters out here that are bed wenching now. Anyway, that...
Yeah, so Willie Lynch, you know what he used to do too? To break the slaves? What he used to do was he used to tie one horse...
Yep.
One arm to the opposite the direction. She used to take a slave,
beat the horse,
take a horse on the opposite, on the right and the left. Put one horse on the right, put the other horse on the left. Tie a rope to the male slave, and slap the horses on the cheeks.
Yeah,
beat
the horses so they can run the opposite direction to split them in half.
To the slave women.
Yep.
To the black slave women
and the children
too, to weaken them and to break. This is to break you and to weaken you. So that we got your men under control too. So Hazel B, this is
Hazel E,
or Hazel B or we or Hazel E. This is what we're telling you. It doesn't pay to coon because when you don't know your history, when you put it out there, you look ignorant. You look ignorant amongst everybody, not just the black folks, but everybody.
Yeah.
So you get the
you get the gist of that. Oh well that would be Power 105 giving Donkey of the Day. Yeah. I'm just gonna give her I'm just gonna say that that she definitely drunk a glass of coon water and Kool-Aid and Coon Aid. To quench her thirst, all right. So definitely, she gets the the coon water award of the day. All right, so all right, let's get into our topic. I want to spend most of the show talking about this interracial dating.
Yeah,
I'm gonna tell my experience. I'm going to talk about the experience of others. Somebody might get offended today. I apologize in quotations. I apologize. Notice how I said it like that in advance. I have friends who are in interracial dating, interracial dating relationships and interracial marriages.
Oh yeah.
And I have family who was in it, so you're not gonna like me today, but this has nothing to do with you personally. But these are the things that people of the world have to deal with. Black people always get the shortcomings when it comes to interracial dating, and I will explain why black people interracial dating is very different from any other race out there, any other group out there. black people have it the hardest, but black people seem to campaign for it the most. I don't know why, or maybe I do because it was taught from slavery.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I find it interesting that black men and black women will preach so hard about dating white people, and specifically, but those same white people don't campaign for dating them. Maybe because they don't want to. Yeah. I'm gonna let you start it off.
Well, my intake on interracial dating, and I think it's an understanding, a compatibility that comes with that. When you're a black person that's woke, it's kind of tough for you to interracial date. So I think it's a little tough because when you want to instill your kids is black pride. You want to instill your kids that black is beautiful. Black is and you also want to embark on them history, on their own history. Want to embark on them in history, and also you want to teach them that to be proud of who they are and where they're from. Not to take away from those white folks that say, okay, it's okay, it's all right, we could teach you that, but also don't forget about your Caucasian history too. But interracial dating is it's either going this way. I look at it this way. It's either you're gonna go to the forget about your what happened to a lot of our folks. Sometimes they forget about. They say, you know what? And I heard this actor called Joe Mortensen. It's like I'm with a white woman, but in my home we don't talk about black upliftment or black people per se. We just talk about the human race. We're just basically base it on that. We don't talk about black pride, or we don't talk about we don't get into videos like Eyes on the Prize or talk about roots, or we don't look into that. We just look into basically just being who we are as humans and loving each other. That's it. Well, my opinion on that is when your son gets harassed, when your son gets pulled over, or when he's walking the streets, and
it starts in school first.
And it starts.
It's a little kid from school.
Teasing him or stereotyping him because he's
racial epithets.
Because he looked the way how he looks. Are you gonna ignore it then? Are you gonna ignore your blackness then, or are you just gonna just say, son, you did something wrong, and maybe you was doing the wrong thing at that time? Because some of our folks like to ignore this, the simple fact that there is racial profiling, there is stereotyping, there is prejudice and racism. Some of us like to ignore that, but it does exist, and it still exists.
Talk about what society does. Society always reminds us.
Society is
regardless if
everywhere reminds us. The internet, everywhere. The society in a whole. Yeah, you're right. The society in a whole reminds you when you like to forget.
Every day.
When you like to forget and think that, okay, you know what? I'm with this prize now. I'm with this woman now. I'm with this my queen, which some brothers call the white woman the queen. Listen, when I'm with my queen, I do tend to forget. I want to forget that but society will remind you quickly that you're still a brother.
That's why Jay-Z's song, "The Story of OJ," doesn't talk about interracial dating, but it talks about how no matter what you do, no matter how far we come, we will always be seen as the N-word. Yeah.
The words of LeBron James, no matter how much money you make, we are still black.
Exactly. So now let's talk about how this translates into the dating game when it comes to interracial dating. Now let's start with interracial dating with black and white. What's your breakdown of that?
Well, I see some either or. White women dating black men dating white women, or
Black women dating white men.
or white men dating black women. I've seen it from in the past. The folks I've met, the interracial dating that I've seen, I'll black men just say, you know what, it's all about money. I heard I'm not gonna call the names, but I heard a brother say it's all about money. So that has nothing to do with race. And he's married to a white woman, and he said it. And he said that why do we always have to do, and he even questioned me and said, why does it always have to be about race? Why can't we just live in harmony, and just because my friend, like I told him before, the world doesn't see it that way. You may like to think about it that way, but the world does not see it that way. One thing, and people tend to forget, this is why I love history, and I always dig into history. And I told this brother to do it. I don't know if he did, but read 1921 Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Black Wall Street.
Black Wall Street. I told him to read. I don't know if he read it or not, but
He ain't read it.
I told him to read it.
He ain't read it. You tell him about Rosewood Hood and all that. The point that you're making is that Black Wall Street got bombed, had a terrorist attack because a white woman lied.
Yes.
On a black man.
Yes.
Same thing happened with Rosewood. Rosewood was burnt down. We're talking about race riots starting off of a lie.
Yes.
We're talking about Emmett Till off of a lie.
Off of a lie, yes.
So
yes.
the point that you're making is that even if you as a black man want to date a white woman, you need to know what kind of white woman you got.
Yes. Yes.
Because if you have the kind of white woman that knows that that her role in society is that she's a white woman and that she's protected by white supremacy, and then she knows that you're black and you are not protected at all, and you don't have any representation, that they will believe her side over yours.
Anytime.
If that's the kind of white woman you got, brothers out there, you are in danger.
Yes. Yeah, and you don't even know it.
The thing is, my thing is, look, you want to date whoever you want, so be it. That's your business. My problem is when black men themselves date outside their race and then now diss the women of their culture. That's messed up. You could date somebody else without dissing your own people.
You know what?
Your mother's black.
Yeah. You know what? And there's many brothers that
you came from a black mother, but you hate black women? That means you hate yourself.
That's right. And there's many brothers that do that. There's many brothers that I've personally heard diss their own sisters because of that. I heard the term ugly. Black women are ugly. I heard I would never date a black woman. I heard many things. I mean, I've heard brothers say. I know brothers that never date a black woman. How about that? I met brothers that never date black women. Period. Yeah. Every time they matter of fact, today they're married to white women. Today, I have a cousin. But I ain't gonna call his name. But they don't deal with sisters. Period. They just don't. Because they always feel that sisters they're angry. They always feel that they're angry. They always feel that they're uptight. They're always pissed off about something. Well, let me school you why sometimes it always seems that way. Because first of all, sisters get treated terribly. I'm just gonna put it out there. Sisters, a lot of them are single mothers. A lot of them always gotta work extra hard because they're female and they're black. That's number one. Number two, the odds are always against them, especially when it comes to dealing with brothers that always cheat on them all the time. They're trying to do something. I'm not saying all, but some are trying to do the right thing. There are some ratchet sisters out there. Yes, they do. But I'm just talking about the sisters that are trying to live right and try to do the right thing. And then they meet ratchet brothers that don't treat them right. So you want to ask, and sisters that always want to sing with they always wind up raising their kids by themselves. So you want to ask why sisters are angry? There you go.
Well, I have an answer to why. I have an answer to what you just said. I have an answer to why that is happening. Because white supremacy systematically taught sisters that if you are a single mother and the more kids you have, and we have a program, we have a public assistance for you. But the thing is, you can't have a man in a home. So that's where the single mother culture comes from.
Yes.
All right?
Yes. That started back in the
I got
late
receipts.
60s, early 70s.
I got receipts now.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about why the sister is so disenfranchised. You said, yes, she's a woman and she's black. She's first disenfranchised because she's black. She's disenfranchised second because she's a woman. If she was just a woman, then during the women's suffrage, when white women were getting what they wanted, sisters would have been on a level playing field with them, but they weren't because they were still black. So the black side still suffered. Mm-hmm. Receipts. Mm-hmm. Also, I guess the whole thing about sisters thinking that the reputation that brothers have on cheating on their women, white men have a higher statistics of cheating on their women, but white men are not the priority of that subject. Only black men are. So black men are only seen as being monogamous, and that's not fair.
Yes.
They make it seem like only brothers cheat. All men, well, not all men. What I'm saying is men of all cultures
cheat,
have had cheating attached to them.
Of course.
And women cheating attached to them. So it's unfair. It's very racist when I see that they only show black men with this problem.
I had to argue with a sister the other day.
Hold on, I'm gonna get to that in a second. But then somebody's gonna ask me where that came from. Here's my receipt. Back in the days of slavery, they had this thing called Mandingo. The Mandingo, the breaking down of Mandingo, buck breaking, and all this other stuff, where they would tell the man who was a slave, and he probably was the most physically fit slave out of all of them. He would have them impregnate black women, multiple black women, take him out of the hut, take him from the plantation. So now this brother got kids in different now you've taught a brother to not even commit to his woman. But post slavery, we still had black marriage was still high. So then there goes that program I said before to interrupt that with telling sisters that you can get money if the more kids you have, but the man can't be in the home. That's how the project started. Men couldn't live in the projects at first.
I know
they couldn't.
In order for the woman to get welfare.
Right. That movie Claudine shows that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. They couldn't have no man.
Check out the movie Claudine, but
they walk up in your house, right? But they never did that to They never did that to
James Earl Jones.
But they never did that to women of other cultures. They never ran up in their homes like that.
No, they never did.
Black women are not the only women that got public assistance. From having kids, in welfare and all this other stuff. They weren't the only ones.
Not the only ones, no.
And they're not even the biggest beneficiaries of it.
Right.
It's white people.
Now let's talk. Yeah.
And I have to say it this way because I don't like the lies. If we're gonna true equality means we talk about all of y'all, not just one of y'all. Mm-hmm. That's the problem. Is that only one side is being told, and a lot of it is a lot of lies and not a lot of truth. So that's why I want to talk about that. Go ahead, Zaccheus.
Yeah, let's talk about ratchet sisters now. I heard sisters say that brothers are no good. Brothers cheat. That's why I don't mind dating out my race because brothers cheat. Sister, they have a lot of good brothers out there, but you don't give them a chance. You look at the material things quickly, but you don't give the brother a chance because you're looking at other stuff. You're looking at other things, and you're not looking at a good man right underneath your nose. No, I have a lot of good brothers out there that's honest, working hard. But no, you rather look at other things too that block you from seeing the good brother. So we gotta look at two spectrums of the stick. I know I'm not gonna call his name up, but what's his brother's name?
Talking about a celebrity now?
Yeah.
Nah, name drop that if you have to.
Yeah.
Say allegedly though.
Allegedly, Maurice Stoudemire, he talks about ratchet sisters and sisters that are
Wait a minute, he's married to a sister though.
no, not Maurice Stoudemire. I mean the YouTube king, Tommy Stoudemire. Tommy Stoudemire.
Oh God.
Tommy Sotomayor talks about the ratchet sister. Now, don't get me wrong. He is right. They do have some ratchet sisters out there. They do have some sisters that do not treat brothers good, and they would. He allegedly believes that they do give the white. They would what they would do for a white man. They would not do for a brother. What some sisters would do for a white man, they would not do for a brother. He preaches it. He has, and sometimes he has news to back it up, but you can't put that on all sisters though. He ain't saying all, but he's saying that there's some sisters that do not do that are ratchet and do not and represent themselves very, very, very bad. But I don't want to jump off topic though, because this is a show about interracial dating.
Yeah.
And so he believes that what some black women would do for white men, they would not do for brothers. And
all right. So if we're talking about bed wenches, then this fits right into the topic.
Yeah.
And there are bed wenches in black society that would do more for a man outside of their race, especially that of a white man, than for a black man. But I'll also say there are a lot of lost brothers out there that will do more for a white woman than a black woman. I myself have dated interracially before, and here's the difference between me and other brothers at this time. I didn't diss my sisters, so here I was dating white girls, but I also had my friends. But I had a lot of black women as my friends.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like all of a sudden I foregoed and handed in my black card for a white card per se.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to say this in the most mature way possible. I don't want people bringing this out of context like as if I have a problem with white folks. I don't. I'm just saying for you brothers out there that are going to date white women, you need to know what kind of white woman you have. Do you have a white woman that is going to stand up for you and support you in the cause? Is she going to be a resistance? Is she going to be part of the resistance against white supremacy? This is the difference between black people and white people when they date interracially. When black people date other people, they now have to understand that you're dating somebody who can't relate to you now. So now, what's the point of being on a team with somebody and then you end up still feeling alone? There are many brothers out there who date sisters who are not for the cause as well. So I'm not going to make it seem like there are not black women out there that are not down for the cause, who are not part of the resistance against white supremacy by default because they are black. They have no choice but to be in the resistance. But white people have a choice. White people could choose to be racist or non-racist.
Mm-hmm.
How about that?
Mm-hmm.
That's a choice that white people are given.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Black people don't have the luxury of today I'm going to be black, but tomorrow I'm going to be Chinese. What? That's not even possible. So what kind of white, if you are dating a white person, black men, black women, you need to find out what side you're on. Like Eminem said. He said, if you're a supporter of mine and you're a supporter of his, Trump, I'm drawing a line in the sand. You're either for or against. And if you're still confused about which side you are on, I got 2 words for you. Bleep you. I'm quoting him. I probably said it wrong, but you know what I'm saying in layman's terms.
No.
If you're dating somebody who's Latina, because it's interracial, so it ain't just black and white. If you're dating somebody who's Latina or Hispanic or whatever you like to call it, somebody who is Mexican, Puerto Rico, or whoever who considers themselves in that Latina, in that Latino Hispanic community. Okay, you need to find out if something racial happens, what side are they gonna be on? You got to do that with them too. Same thing with when black people date Asian people. The point I'm making is that other communities, when they date other people, they don't have to figure out the same things that we have to. When black people date outside their race, it is more of a challenge for them. You know, Shannon Sharp on Undisputed, former NFL player, former NFL Hall of Famer. He's on Undisputed, and you know that brother, he speaks the real.
Yes.
I love what that brother says.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you know his wife is white? But it's the type of wife he got. Because for me, I don't know his wife. But for him to speak for black empowerment and to speak out against white supremacy means that his wife has to at least agree with what he's saying.
Yes, for them to be married.
Right, because I believe if she didn't, then he would be the coon in that relationship. Because most brothers are. When they get with a white woman who is
juices.
Right. When they get with a white woman who is oblivious to racism and who says stuff like, "Oh, there is no race, there's the human race" crap.
Yeah.
When usually those brothers don't want to be black no more. They don't even want to talk about racism. They only believe racism exists because they feel because they're married to a white woman that they accomplished something. How about that?
Oh yes, they do. They do.
And then these white women who are in relationships and marriages with them see themselves as the prize, and that you should be thankful that you're even with me. That is not a genuine relationship.
It's true.
You know, you should, black men out there, if you're dating any woman out there, that woman should be proud to have you too.
That's right. Not you.
Kind of messes that.
Yeah. You know what?
Not the other way around.
She
should be proud to have you. It shouldn't be, "Oh, I'm doing you a favor." But that's what happens often in interracial relationships between black people and others.
I want to piggyback on what you said about it's a challenge, brother. It is a challenge because black men dating not just white women but any other nationality.
Yep.
Or like let's say Filipino. I had a brother years ago that dated a Filipino woman, and he was not even invited into the house of that Filipino woman's house.
But let me guess, his black family would definitely love to have her, right?
His black family embraced her.
Thank you, because black people
like she's
she's one of their own. Because by nature, black people are family friendly.
The
Facts.
family acted like it was a funeral in the home all she did was date him for 2-3 dates, and they acted like death came to their home because he was a black man, and on top of that they were Christians, born again Christians, acting like this. So it just go to tell me that beyond even the Christian walls of the church, that racism is there, because the thing is that this brother was a good brother. This brother it's not like he was a thug or, he was not even a thug. This dude was in college, man. He's a college man, graduating. He graduated already because that was a few years ago. He graduated, and he had to break up with her because she told him, he said, "Listen, my parents do not want me dating you." Now he told me the story, and she told me the story too. The Filipino woman told me the story too. Her name was Nightingale. I remember her name. The brother's name is Garnett. I remember. She told me the story too. She said, "Listen, we couldn't be together because my parents do not want me dating black men." Now they're from the Philippines, and but it's just good to tell me that we're people that we embrace everybody, man. We basically embrace we embrace all people, man, and it's a shame that had to happen. Good brother, man. His brother had his head on his shoulders, graduating and everything. We have it hard, cause so every time we date different people that's outside of our race, was always a or people of different nationalities, is always a problem within that family. But our family, we always embrace.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed that he's not the only story I heard of, but there's other stories I heard of too.
Well, I have a story.
You know,
How about that?
yeah.
I have a story. I was dating this white girl, and her uncle hated me, called me all types of N words, all of that.
Wow.
Her mother wasn't too keen on me either, but her mother, I was still allowed in their home, so that's a difference, you know. But her uncle, every time, he saw her, oh, so you still dating that N word? Oh, does he eat fried chicken and collard greens?
Wow.
Does his pants sag? All this other stuff.
Wow.
Said all types of stuff. See, but you don't really hear too many stories about white people who date black people about, oh, is their family going to accept them? There might be there's definitely black people who could be prejudiced too, but not racist, but definitely prejudiced. And they could not want that for a particular reason. But 9 out of 10 times, a black family is going to they're going to more grow to the idea of their family member dating outside their race as opposed to the other side.
And that's black families across the board, not just African Americans, but Nigerians, Caribbean. I've seen it.
Yeah, because by nature, because historically it shows.
Yeah.
Okay, that black folks, the Africa diaspora, that black people in the world have always embraced or accepted others and shared our culture and stuff like that with others. And we've always been known to embrace people.
I remember this.
That is our history, but that is not the history of everybody else.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
So this is why you'll find sometimes that a lot of the families will say, "Oh, is that her?" So at first it might catch them off guard, but they be like, "Oh, okay. Oh, well, we're just glad you love him, that you care about him. He just needs somebody to care about him."
Exactly.
Let me tell you something. You could be the most fun, loving black man, and that ain't changing nobody's ideas about you.
Nope.
You know what I'm saying? That's not happening. That doesn't happen. That's why it's so very different for black folks. Okay, so all right, so now this is black men but white women, right? Now black women for white men. Here's what happens. And this is from people's experiences. A lot of white men really just have a lot of sisters who have these horror stories of dating white men will say stuff like, well, I'm with this guy and he's a nice guy, but one day he surprised me sexually. And then you would ask, how so? Oh, well, he wanted to role play. This ain't all white men. Disclaimer. But he said that he wanted to do slave play.
Mm-hmm. I heard that before.
Okay, now let me just say this to the sister. You need to run as far as you can and never look back. Okay? That relationship is doomed from the beginning. He basically revealed to you why he's with you. He's not with you because he believes you are a woman of quality. He's with you because he wants to live out some sick slavery sex fantasy. So you're just an object. That's all you are. You're just an object. So for my black women out there, you need to find out what kind of white man you have in your life. You need to test that early.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Women, if y'all want to go out there and do that, that's your choice. That's your choice. I will say one thing. Growing up, I've always been attracted to sisters first. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
Do I find myself attracted to other women who are not sisters? Yeah. I also grew up with Puerto Rican women. Grew up with Puerto Ricans. So there was Puerto Rican women that I find attractive. But growing up, I considered Puerto Ricans black.
Yes.
So I didn't really look at that as interracial dating.
They're nationality. That's
right.
What it is.
Well, because historically, whether Puerto Ricans know this or not, they have black in them. Historically, because the transatlantic slave trade dropped off black folks on Puerto Rico
too as well.
And so a lot of them mixed up and stuff like that. That's why you have dark skinned Puerto Ricans. The light skinned Puerto Ricans are from the rapes.
Right.
Okay. The Taino tribes were dark skinned too. Mm-hmm. The Taino Indians. I'm talking about the tribes who were on Puerto Rico. Mm-hmm. You know, they had color. They weren't all light skinned. Their women were raped too. Mm-hmm. Okay. By the invaders. Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
You know, by the slave mass. You know, by the takeover. You know, so you had people who came over and conquered from the Europeans, and they raped the Taino Indians and raped the black women, and then you got all of this going on. Okay, so like I said, when I was a kid, how I feel about that now was a little differently, but when I was a kid, I felt that Puerto Rican women were that we were all together.
Right.
So I never considered dating a Puerto Rican woman was interracial. You know what I mean? But that's very popular, especially here in New York.
Right.
You know what I mean? A lot of brothers date Puerto Rican women. But here's what I want to say to Puerto Rican women. For the Puerto Rican sisters out there, if you're one of those sisters that believe you're better than black women, I ain't with you. Do not support that. But if you're humble about black women and brothers who date them, and then you feel like, well, I might be attracted to a brother, but that doesn't mean that he doesn't like black women anymore. You know what I'm saying? If you that type of Puerto Rican sister, then I'm cool with that. But if you're not one that says, oh, well, he with me because, Puerto Rican women are better and all this other stuff, I ain't with that. But that's very common. Puerto Rican men getting with sisters. That's common in places like New York City.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And probably other places, but I know that for sure. Black people dating Mexicans. That's not that common. Although I heard in California and Texas and places that have higher.
I have a cousin that's married to a Mexican woman. Yeah.
And how's
Texas.
that for him?
It looks like a happy marriage.
But
he's married.
Family wise, how's
family
the
wise?
Mexican side? Her family does her family accept him?
His family very well. I think very well accept him. He's never dated a sister.
Okay. Because there's racism there too.
Yeah.
Because the one thing, George Lopez had a joke. He said that, and even though it's a joke, it's the truth. He said that that Mexican teach their women, that Mexican families teach their kids don't marry black.
What?
Yeah. So even though he said that as a joke, that was the truth.
That was the truth. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now I'm not saying all families, but the Mexican community would they would be lying to me if they never said this was true. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure most commonly they were taught not to date anybody black. Like stay far away. I'm sure and if they tell me that that's not true, then they're not then they're not being true with themselves, because I've heard that growing up. Okay, I didn't always live in New York. So I had a situation where I didn't live in New York, and this place was in the Midwest.
I heard that from the Indian perspective, though. Indians don't date black men, women, and Indian women do not. They cannot is not allowed. Arab and Indian women are not allowed to date brothers. Period.
Yeah, that's another thing.
Period.
That's another thing. But they don't have no problem. But some of these cultures don't have no problem telling them to date white. But for this reason, though, because they assume if they date white that they'll hook on to the privilege and the money.
Yes.
But guess what? It doesn't always turn out that way, because they end up getting with the wrong type. They end up getting with a racist white guy. And some people have said, well, how can you be racist and date outside your race? Easy. The slave masters hated black people, but raped any chance they got.
Yeah, exactly.
Any chance they got. They would do it right before they went upstairs and had sex with their own wife. How about that?
I've met a white dude that told me straight up. You know, he's a cool dude, but he told me straight up. He said, listen, he's dating a black woman, but his black woman told him that she would never date a brother, that she would never date a black man. She can't see herself marrying a black man.
Well,
and he was like, his question was like, whoa, okay, well, and he said, well, I can't see myself dating a white woman, but why? He said, why would you? Why did you come?
Wow, he said that.
Yeah. And he said,
you don't hear that too often.
Yeah, and he said, why? And he asked her, why did you say that? He said, because they're bad. They're Which she used the term.
Wait, a white man said this about his own women?
No, black woman saying this about about us.
Oh, okay, because I thought you said that her white boyfriend said that he don't see himself dating white women.
Yeah, well, he said that when she said that, she said it first.
And then he said it as a follow-up.
As a follow-up.
Oh, yeah. So he might have been lying.
Yeah, and she was like, she said something that really, like, I was like, wow. He told me this, but I was like, man. She said something that they're high risk. Dating black men are high risk. Something of that nature.
Well, sister, goodbye. Okay, that's just one less sister I gotta look at. Yeah. Because if she feels her own men are high risk, because this is what we're taught. This is why the dating game between the black community is so hard, because everybody, every race, culture, creed has been taught to fear black men, included black women. They've taught this to everybody, including our women. This is why a lot of women do that, brothers ain't this and brothers ain't that.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they've been taught that. But these are unwoke sisters. That sister you talking about, she sleep. Sisters who are woke love them some black men.
Oh,
love
them.
Okay? And they love us. They're patient with us. They give us the benefit of the doubt. You know why? Because they know why things are the way they are, and everything is perception. A lot of these stuff is lies. So if you are a brother who's woke, you need to get you a sister who's woke.
Yes,
that matches.
Yes. That's a must.
Don't you be lost brothers and lost sisters can be each other's problem. Okay, just don't be my problem. But got to get you a sister who's woke. You know what I'm saying? And like I said before, if you're gonna date outside your race, you need to know if they are if they are part of the resistance against white supremacy. They have to be on the resistance. They got to be. And if they not, then good luck to you. But if you're a brother, because a lot of brothers are not on that team. How about that?
I have a family member. I'm ashamed to say this too. Well, he drinks a whole bottle of coon juice.
Oh yeah.
He said that if he was a black woman, he would never date if he was a black woman, he'll never date a black man.
Good. So goodbye. Goodbye. That's all I can say is goodbye.
Yeah, he said there.
Okay. I hope when the revolution comes, you ain't dead.
So
better hope you don't get killed out there by yourself.
A lot of us drink the coon juice, man, and it's like, man, it's so sad, man. So what do you think about Omar Johnson? He said that
Omar Johnson said
that he said you should raise our black sons never to date, never to be with a white woman, never to date a white woman. That's what Dr. Omar Johnson said, man.
Well, I'll tell you what else he said on Power 105. He said that black men, when they can't get the same freedom white men get, then they will try to get the symbols of freedom, which is the cars, most likely a Mercedes built in Germany, and a white woman. You know what I'm saying? That those are the two things that they'll try to get. And that is, and also try to live where he lives. But they need that white woman. That's something that they feel they should have. That's a very wrong thing about going about things. Look, there are brothers out there who grew up in neighborhoods that probably didn't have too many black people, so they didn't have too many choices as far as black women, so they dated white women. Barack Obama is a great example of that. But Barack Obama wasn't raised by a black woman. He was in Hawaii. Ain't there many black folks out there in Hawaii?
No.
And then he also lived in Indonesia.
He did?
He didn't really. Yeah, he lived in other countries. So this is somebody who has a worldview. He didn't grow up around a lot of black people. He saw more black people when he lived in Chicago, but before that, he wasn't surrounded, so he didn't really have the options. So the only women that he can get, he's not gay, so the only women he could get were white women. Those were the women that were there.
Right.
Wherever you live, you're gonna try to get the women who are there.
Yes.
There are brothers who live in Japan who never left after they did their years of service in the military. So they are dating Japanese women, not because they don't want to date black women, but because they're in Japan and they're lonely, and they still are, heterosexual. So they're gonna date them an Asian woman. There's nothing wrong with I understand that.
Yes.
I'm talking about the brothers who now have this self-hate. I'm not saying you have self-hate because you date outside your race.
We're not saying.
I'm talking about the ones who date outside their race because they have self-hate. That's a difference. Now you're talking down against your sisters. You could look, if you want to be with a white woman, Spanish woman, be with them, but don't now talk about your woman like they ain't jack. Let me tell you something. I dated a white girl and I had to correct her. Should have broke up with her when she said this, but I wasn't always woke. Long time ago, she said something about sisters, and I cornered her into telling me exactly what she meant by that. And she ended up generalizing. So I snapped on it, and I told her, don't think because I'm with you that I don't like black women no more. I said, let me tell you something. My mother's a black woman. I said, don't you ever.
Wow.
And do you know that? And do you know that ever since I told her that, she started to become intimidated by black women. She didn't see black women as competition because she figured, oh, he's with me, so he's gonna do whatever he can to keep me, and he don't want his women no more. No, I told her that. Every sister who walked by, she was scared.
Wow.
Because she knows that she knows that black women are beautiful, but she's not gonna say it. But she thought I was forfeiting black women to date her. The lie detector test determined that was a lie. All right, so we're gonna close up. We might have to continue this later because there's so much stuff I wanted to say.
Yeah.
Because I didn't get into differences of faith when you date interracially, culturally, different things of culture, things that happen. Yeah. We got to do a chapter 2 on this.
Okay.
Because and then raising of the families, we didn't get to that. There's a lot of things that we missed.
That's another topic that we could talk about, raising in the family.
There's a lot of things that we missed. Yeah. So I just want to say for those who've heard the whole show, I hope you did and you didn't just take sound bites. I just want this to be said. The point I was making is that if you're going to, I was talking about the struggles of black men and black women when they date outside their race. It's very different from others. Others have their stories, we have ours. What I'm saying is this: those who are dating outside their race and things are working out for you, God bless you and your family. But this is not everybody's story. There are a lot of unsuccessful interracial relationships, and they end, badly. A lot of reality checks come out of that. So if you're able to work it out, then God bless you and your family. That's all I can say. If it works out, but it doesn't work out for everybody.
Not for everybody.
You know, and a lot of people don't understand. The point I'm making is you can love who you are, be who you are, love your people, and if you still happen to find somebody who's not part of your culture and you date them and it works out, fine. But you shouldn't dish your culture. You shouldn't do that, even if you're white. You know, white men shouldn't be dissing white women to get with Asian women. But, you know, I hear a lot of that happens too, allegedly. That's foul too. And I'm not even white, but I'm just making a point. You know, same thing with Asian women. Look, Asian women, you know, all other women out there, men out there, you know, you don't have to dish your people to get with somebody else. That's messed up. You know, we can still love our own. We could love our own and love each other too. Mm-hmm. You know, that's something we can do. Mm-hmm. But what I'm saying is, if you're gonna date us, whoever you are, especially a brother like me, if you don't even step to me, if you are not on the, and this goes for sisters too, don't step to me unless you are on Team Black Empowerment. If you're not black, don't step to me if you're not on the team that if you're not part of the resistance against white supremacy. The resistance against white supremacy. Zaccheus, your turn.
Interracial dating, man. All I gotta say is, man, never forget who you are. Even and always teach your children, if you have kids, to be proud of who they are, and also be proud of who you are too as well. Just because you are seeing a white woman or a black woman, just because you're seeing a white man doesn't mean that you have to just disregard who you are. Doesn't mean that you have to for all of a sudden now say that, oh well, listen, that racial profiling and racism don't affect me, because you know, we're all in the same boat, we're all in the same gang. Don't think for a quick second that they'll remind you who you are in a quick second. So stop assuming and thinking that, okay, because I'm dating who I'm with now, so I can just forget about my people. You know, it's just what it is. Stop dissing your own people. Don't diss your own people because all of a sudden now you're dating outside your race now. All of a sudden now they ain't no good. No brother is good, or no sister is good. We need to stop doing that. We need to be proud of who we are as a people. This time.
Oh, let me add, by the way, when I dated when I dated white women, when I had that time of dating white girls, I've experienced more racism dating white women than I did dating sisters. Outside a relationship and inside a relationship. Yes, I had to battle racism in my own relationship. But like I said, I wasn't woke then. I was awakening then. That relationship was part of the same time that I was starting to be more black conscious. How about that? Funny how things turn out. In my own relationship, I was experiencing that. And that's what I was trying to make a point before, that you have people who are in interracial relationships and they're finding out that the person that they're with doesn't even like them, doesn't even like their people. Having sex with somebody outside of your race doesn't cure racism.
Wow.
That's another thing. People like to say, oh, well, he lay up with me or she lay up with me, so he must like me. Yeah, but he don't like your people. He like what you giving him, and he can go out there and get it from anybody else.
Right.
You know, there's a difference between the exception and the rule. How about that? All right. Zaccheus, how can he reach you?
You can reach me at Zaccheus on you can reach me on Instagram, Zaccheus, Zacchus Zaccheus B73. That's on Instagram. On Facebook, you can reach me at Wayne Backus. Wayne Backus on Facebook. Also, you can reach me on Twitter, Wayne Backus 2, at Wayne Backus 2 on Twitter. You can also get my book that's available still. I'm a Bad Man, a Thug, and a Gangster. It's available to read. It's a fun read. Go get it. Also, don't forget to get that album, The Example, still available on iTunes, everywhere. That's where music is sold. The Example, me, Zaccheus, and Mr. Z. No, Zaccheus and the Fifth General. Yeah.
All right. Reach me at the Fifth General, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. All right. So we're gonna get up out of here. We're gonna actually finish this up the next episode. Okay. We're gonna get more deep into the topic. All right. So signing off,
Mr. Z.
Fifth. All right. We'll see y'all next time.
Next time. Peace.
Peace out.